Super Bowl winners on the right. He is playing. He's playing Junk Reanimator, and then Jonathan Marsh playing Esper Control.
Yeah, and so I mean, Shawn looks like he's happy to be here. Jonathan looks like he wants to win. So I think that is a mindset that actually happens a lot.
Got a little bit of a read here, do you?
I do. I have a read.
All right. Well, both players are underway here. So we're going to see Shawn start off with Navison's Pilgrim. This is a rather traditional Junk Reanimator deck list, but there are some changes.
There's some sweet things.
There are some sweet things going on, which are important. A card that Glenn and I talked about when you worked here, as we see Devour Flesh going to take care of the Navison's Pilgrim. Armada Worm.
We have an Armada Worm.
We have an Armada Worm. We have a Gristlebrand.
We got a Gristlebrand.
We also have a Crater of Behemoth, but the real spicer, the one that you're not used to seeing, is we have one copy of Undying Evil.
We do, and I mean, one thing that he does not have is he has no Arbor Elves. So he doesn't have as much acceleration as the normal deck, and only 3 Grizzly Salvages and 3 Mulches. So those Umbrerites have less ways to get things into the graveyard. A very slow Reanimator deck, which seems fine when you're facing Esper Control going into top it. You don't have as many Elves to get Wrath. You have some better cards to go there, like a couple Lingering Souls, as we see. Both Lingering Souls go into the yard. That's going to help out for the long game here.
Yeah, we see 2 Lingering Souls and a Thraktos go to the graveyard. Isolated Chap will go to the hand.
Yeah, but there aren't any townships, so they're not going to get any boosts from that way.
So not a ton of value lands, just 1 Vault of the Archangel here, and obviously whenever I scan these deck lists, I always look for the number of Cavernous Souls, especially when you're against Esper, a deck that does play counter magic from time to time. 2 Cavernous Souls in the main, none on the sideboard. You do see some 1-1 splits on occasion. I think Will Craddock last weekend, Specialty Games Open Series champion out there in Kansas City, he had 1 in his main, 1 in his sideboard. Yep. So we see that Shawn is electing for 2 in the main deck here.
And we see a Cavern Souls in his hand right now, also the Gristlebrand. So does he just go Demon, or are we going to pick one of the other creature types? I mean, we can just go Angel to safely get the other, both types of Angels into play. But man, I just want to see like the turn 5 Demon. It's coming.
I want to see Demon too, actually. As we're going to see Lingering Souls get flashback here by Shawn. 2 Spirit Tokens. You see Jonathan's hand. You know, you see a Syncopate in there, an old school Syncopate, along with Azorius Charm, Isolated Chapel, and you see a Nefaya Drown Yard out there as well. So we're going to see some Spirit Tokens coming to play from the Lingering Souls. And how much counter magic does Jonathan have in his main deck? Which is, you know, your Dissipate, your Syncopates of the world. How much of that stuff are we looking for?
Well, we have 2 of each of those, actually. He does have an Ultimate Price, 2 Tributes, 2 Devour Flesh, and 4 Zer's Charms to fill up the spot removal. And then 6 Wraths, 4 Supreme Verdict, 2 Planar Cleansings. Only 2 Think Twice to go with his 3 Augur of Bolas for his card advantage in the early game. And then 1 main deck Memory Adept to help out with that mill strategy.
All right, well, we do see Azorius Charm get cycled here. Jonathan just going to play an Isolated Chapel and hit his land drop. As we see Shawn's going to come across with those 2 Spirit Tokens. He's going to knock Jonathan down to what looks to be 16. And you do see a Planar Cleansing over there in Jonathan's hand as well. But we are going to see a Cavern of Souls. I think it's probably Naming Beast.
It's probably Naming Beast, yeah.
I'm going to see a Thraktos get cast
Unless
here.
you play it, cast the Thraktos, says Resolve, and you're like, yeah, I named Angel.
Yeah. And we're going to see a Sphinx's Revelation here. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, a mini divination.
Yeah, it just needs to start setting up the rest of those Sphinx's Revelations. The first one's always a little bit smaller than the rest. Need to make sure you hit all your land drops and get enough spells in action.
Now we do see Glacial Fortress, 2 of them actually there in Jonathan's hand. Again, a couple Syncopates there. You see a Planar Cleansing in there as well. So, you know, is this board worth Planar Cleansing? I think that's the question that Jonathan's asking himself
Game 2
right
it might not be, but Game 1 I do feel like that's just a fine play. Like, we have, is that a Syncopate?
There is a Syncopate in here.
There's one and there's a Dissipate, right? That's an old school Dissipate?
It looks like there's an old school Dissipate as well, yeah. So at least 2 counter spells. That is an old school Dissipate. Jonathan, a man after Patrick Sullivan's heart. Patrick Sullivan loves some old artwork. I'm more of a new school kind of guy myself.
I'm the same. I like my old mulches.
Yeah. No, thank you. Give me an Innistrad mulch any day of the week. As we do see Shawn come across here for 7, and he does just pass the turn back. Basically saying, Jonathan, you need to answer these threats before I commit any more to the table.
Yeah. And now he just got open to Wrath plus Dissipate, so now you might see him pull the trigger. No, he's not going to pull it on the Supreme Verdict.
Well, Shawn might force the issue here, as he does have a Restoration Angel in his hand and not hit a land drop. So maybe we'll see a Restoration Angel here at the end step, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Looking to make another 3/3 and gain 5 life, and basically add 6 points of power to the board.
Way too much for lethal, yeah.
And that does happen. So Thragtusk going to be blinked. You're going to see a Beast Token come in. You're going to see Shawn gain 5 with Restoration Angel plus the Beast Token. We're going to see a lethal attack here, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Jonathan's going to do to stop this. He has a Restoration Angel just for a block. So I guess he can play Restoration Angel, block that Thragtusk, take the 8 life damage, go to 3, and then wrath the full board.
Well, let's see if that's going to be his play, as we do see a Restoration Angel here.
That's going to get beat up because of that Umbrella Rights. He's going to have to force the Dissipate on that.
So now we do see the trade there happen. A Beast Token will come in from the Thragtusk. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of damage. Jonathan going to move down to 3.
Usually a life total that Esper's okay with, but there is not the Sphinx's Revelation to help him get back into this game. He is just saying go, threatening another Restoration Angel. I do not know if he has it. He does. And that is going to be lethal or force him to play that Supreme Verdict. He better hold the counterspell.
So you do see double blue being available, and you are going to see Supreme Verdict take care of the board. You do see the Watery Grave and the Glacial Fortress available for the Dissipate. Shawn's going to attempt that Restoration Angel, and as long as our eyes are working, we see a Dissipate there in Jonathan's hand.
We'll also see a Syncopate that I think he'll rather use.
And he is going to need to tap double blue for that, because Isolated Chapel and Godless Shrine. Oh, he's going to use Syncopate. Okay, never mind.
It's more efficient for later in the game. All right,
that makes sense. Syncopate, its mana cost can vary. Dissipate will always be 3 mana.
Here's an Umbrella Rights on a Thragtusk. This is just pure value town. When you Umbrella Rights a Thragtusk, you have to bring 4 spears to the battlefield.
4?
4 whole spears.
That's a lot of spears.
Who
That's like
can carry them?
That's like the maximum number of spears that you can
No,
bring.
no one can carry that many. You're lucky if you brought 2. It's heavy. It's uphill.
As Jonathan does draw an Azorius Charm for the turn, so we could see, you know, a little Azorius Charm in the Thragtusk plus mill it with the Nefaya Drown Yard.
I could potentially, I mean, you could see that, but that's not going to really beat Umbrella Rights. I definitely see him Snapcaster and drawing 3 off the Sphinx's Revelation this turn. Just to try to, like, start setting the things up. This not only lets him block this Thragtusk, but lets him get 3 cards deeper into his deck, trying to find some action.
All right, well, we do see Snapcaster Mage, as you predicted. It does jump in front of the Thragtusk. Not sure if it targeted the Sphinx's Revelation or maybe the Devour Flesh. Wasn't quite sure what he's targeting, but I'm sure we'll find out momentarily if it was that Sphinx's Revelation. As we do see Shawn considering playing another
I'm okay
Thragtusk
to assume
here.
this time. Yeah, here's Thragtusk number 3. There's still 1 left in the graveyard. This is going to let Shawn go all the way up to 41 life, and Jonathan's going to end up at 6 after he draws 3 cards.
Thragtusk's a pretty good Magic card.
It's been okay.
And here is your Sphinx's Revelation here by Jonathan, going to gain 3 and draw 3 cards. So a bunch of mini Revelations, no huge ones just
Well,
yet.
he's trying to set those up, but a card like Tribute can be good for an expected metagame, but not this matchup. Like, just being able to take half of a Thragtusk, still have to deal with that Umbrella Rights in the graveyard, still have to deal with the 3 or 4 cards left in Shawn's hand. These are the turns that are crucial for Esper to take over and get that devastating backbreaking Sphinx's Rev, but you can't do that when your opponent has 6 or 10 damage coming at you every turn.
Yeah, and they can keep that steady stream of damage because of Umbrella Rights being able to continually bring back those Thragtusks. This is where things get difficult, where it feels like, you know, the Esper player has a lot of cards in his hand, a lot of lands in play. You think they're doing pretty good, just facing down a couple green monsters, but that's the direct opposite of what's actually taking place right now.
It took me a long time to realize that an Esper control player with 7 cards in hand does not mean it's 7 playables.
Yes, that is definitely true.
After Sphinxing a bunch of times, you just get stuck with a bunch of lands in hand.
So we do see Shawn plays his Woodland Cemetery, and he's coming across for 10. Lethal attack. Jonathan's going to have to make a move here. I think it's going to start with Tribute to Hunger, probably.
Maybe. I mean, yeah. Yeah, it's just a tribute. This is going to drop Jonathan down to 4 after damage, since...
We'll bring Tribute up on the screen for you. It's normally a 1 or 2 of in these Esper decks. Doesn't see a ton of play, but in certain metagames it can be really good.
Now. And I think, I don't know if it was Jerry saying Esper or Ban Hexblade is going to be coming back in the format, or Hexproof, excuse me, giving the fear to everyone.
Yeah.
Definitely when Jerry speaks, a lot of people get the fear.
Understandably so. The Messiah. We must listen. As we do see Tribute to Hunger on the screen there for you guys. Jonathan able to get a little bit of life there. Try to keep his head above water. So you see him considering Azorius Charm with that other Thragtusk. Would you pull the trigger here on that Azorius Charm?
Oh, no. Draw a card. Putting a Thragtusk on top of his deck and giving him a 3/3 beast is not what I want to do in a game of Magic. The only benefit to doing that is if you have to Wrath and you need, like, the extra turn. to do something with that Wrath turn, but no. Now with Unbearable Rites in the graveyard, and I think Shawn's going to, understandably, continue to add pressure to the board.
You're going to see him cast Lingering Souls here from the graveyard to get 2 more Spirit tokens into play. Now, he does have that Unbearable Rites in the graveyard as well. Yes. Don't forget about that.
And a Restoration in hand.
Yep.
And you have to keep the pressure on a deck like Esper. Like, a lot of people fear the Supreme Verdict and they don't want to progress the board too much, but then you just play right into the Sphinx's Rubs.
Yep.
It's definitely a balance that usually I find aggression better than not.
Yeah, you just have to keep, committing threats to the board and make them have those mass removal effects. If you're trying to slowly commit to the board, that's when you start really getting lit up by Azorius Charms and Devour Fleshes and Tribute to Hunger. So being able to create a steady stream of threats here, as you see with the Lingering Souls tokens, the Beast, and the Thragtusk, makes it very difficult on the Esper player. So you see Jonathan is just going to play a Hollow Fountain here. It looks like he may pull the trigger on that Planar Cleansing, perhaps?
Yeah, which is the correct play, and then the Dissipate's going to have to clean up on that that Restoration Angel coming down, opening Shawn to do whatever he wants.
Now we do see Planar Cleansing, a card that we'll bring up on the screen for you guys as well. 6-mana rounds are something that we haven't seen in a little while, Brad. We've seen some more expensive rounds.
I swear he had a Restoration Angel in hand.
He does have an Angel of Serenity in his hand.
Oh, okay, that's what I saw.
Yeah, with similar artwork, you also see Gristlebrand creeping out there as well.
It's getting close. We got to get that Dissipate out of there, though.
But 6-mana rounds are something that you don't really see a ton of nowadays, but this one's actually pretty good.
Last turn, this is actually a really good argument. I like Unbearable Rites in the Thragtusk, forcing lethal post-Wrath. Making him invest more things into the board instead of playing the Lingering Souls. Because Lingering Souls still gets Wrath away with everything.
Okay.
But, like, if you reanimate Thragtusk, that might bring out that counterspell. And now that's not the most important thing, but when you're sitting there, 4 Black Sources in play, and a Gristlebrand in hand, you want to cast that the turn it comes out. The turn you get available.
Yeah, you do. I can't really argue with you on that, as we're going to see a Centaur Healer here. Dissipate takes care of the Unbearable Rites. Yeah, I guess, the way that he went about it, it certainly makes sense, but looking back on it now, maybe there was a different avenue that he could have, that Shawn could have taken there.
Well, so yeah, we're fighting a good fight here, but we have 2 spot removal spells for 2 threats in play that are both lethal, and that's all Jonathan has. And over on Shawn's side, we have Gristlebrand, we have Angel of Serenity.
Some of these cards are not like the others.
They're not.
As we do see, Jonathan has an Ultimate Price. He also has an Azorius Charm, so he can take care of the 2 annoyances that are in play right now.
My only big concern, though, for Shawn is he doesn't really have any life to sacrifice to draw cards.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
He runs so bad.
He can only deck himself.
Yeah. It's just a tough life. As we're going to see another lethal attack here. And Jonathan is going to have to cash in those 2 resources. Azorius Charm there on the Centaur Healer.
Yeah.
And Ultimate Price on the Beast token.
What are you doing?
So that'll take care of that.
Ultimate Price on the 3/3. And now it comes down to 1 card left in Jonathan's hand. You just pull the trigger on the Gristlebrand, right? Like,
well, that's what we know. We all know that's what you want to happen.
Come on, buddy. Come on, Shawn. Shawn.
Angel of Serenity is the decision of the day, Mr. Nelson.
No one's doing what I want them to do.
Not today, my friend. You got to be in the booth more to really get what you want to see. As you see, Angel's going to remove some Thragtusk and some other nonsense here and provide a huge problem yet again. And if Jonathan does take care of that, obviously another issue, as he's going to Drown Yard himself.
Finding that Think Twice.
And now Jonathan will draw a card. It is
a chump block.
It did look like a Restoration Angel there.
Not going to save him too much, but that Think Twice might be able to give him something he needs.
Let's see what the flashback on Think Twice can yield. And it's going to draw a mystery card. Looks like another land. There you see Hollow Fountain, Godless Shrine, and Restoration Angel. And he does just pass the turn back.
Doesn't want to play a land.
Centaur Healer, the draw for Shawn this turn. Here comes a lethal attack. We're going to see Restoration Angel jump in front of the way here. And now Jonathan is just kind of crossing his fingers and hoping that Shawn is out of gas.
Gristlebrand.
Brad is chanting for Gristlebrand. He's going to see a Centaur Healer.
Why would you put it in your deck if you don't cast it when you have the mana?
That's right. Centaur Healer is going to join the fray. You see, Defiant Drown Yard, turnover, Dissipate, a Sphinx Revelation, and a Planar Cleansing. Jonathan draws a card. It is Think Twice. It finds us a Drowned Catacomb. The flashback of Think Twice will yield a Jace Memory of Depth.
Jace activation will get a fug. No.
Yeah, we are going to see a concession. So Shawn Ellis up a game with Junk Reanimator over Jonathan Marsh playing Esper Control.
Only a man would have the mana to cast a Crystal Brand and not cast it.
Okay. He's a winner.
He is a winner.
At the end of the day, Shawn Ellis is a winner. I know you want to see Gristlebrand. I think everybody at home wants to see Gristlebrand.
Yeah. He does know he's on camera, right?
He's fully aware.
All
Ravens jersey and all. He knows it. Taking a look at Shawn Ellis' deck list very quickly, I see he's up a game. As far as sideboard options that can come in, Appetite for Brains seems like an easy inclusion here. Plenty of Rads to take out of his
You can
hand.
take the rest, but they're not the important cards. I don't think it's actually the card you want in this matchup.
Okay.
You can get the non-important cards, but you don't get the most important. The cards that I really want in this matchup are cards like Acidic Slime, any Planeswalkers at all, and that's about it.
How about that Black Primordial there?
No,
Card that we'll
people
bring up
are
on screen
mad.
for you.
Yeah.
The Sepicurial, I believe it is pronounced. Sepicurial Primordial.
I feel like a Comedy Central, character when I try to say that word. Sepicurial.
I believe it is pronounced Sepicurial. Everyone at home is probably cringing right now as we're just destroying the pronunciation.
Is that
of
a
this card.
word?
I'm not sure.
There's no way that's a word.
But that is a card, obviously it's super expensive, but I'm not in love with, is it better than Angel Serenity in this matchup, I guess is
Well,
the
no,
question.
because you can't target their stuff.
But I wanna. Look, it's got Intimidate, it's got a mean picture, it's an avatar.
People just want other people's toys. I don't know if this is better than, does he have 4 Angel Serenities?
He has 3.
See, you should play one of these over an Angel Serenity.
But look at all the stuff it does.
It does all the things.
Look at the picture. No one knows what that's even a picture of. We know it's an avatar. We're pretty sure.
Yeah, but I think the little guy is him. The big guy is the guy in the graveyard.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think that's true.
It can't be true.
No.
That can't be true.
No way. But that card's a Reanimator mirror card, but I think people are going with... This is a trading post card. I'm calling it.
Ooh, we have the definition of Subcurial. Of or relating to a Tomb of Interment? Tomb or Interment, excuse me. And then Gloomy, semicolon, Dismal.
All right.
For those of you Webster's Dictionary fans out there.
Yeah, I guarantee that our people have already tweeted this to us.
Yeah, they're probably mad.
They love correcting us.
Yeah, they do. And rightfully so, because we are butchering both the name of this card and if it's good or not.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I think we are justified in one of them.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. As far as Jonathan Marsh's Esper Control deck, he needs help. This matchup's not good.
He's got help. He has 2 Evil Twins and 3 recipes. He got the memo that Evil Twin's good here.
Okay.
We've got him. He's got 2 negates to come in for the counter, and the 3 recipes, which are obviously good here. So with that, he has a 6 counterspell package after sideboard, and he obviously has the 4 Sphinx's Revs that he's going to lean heavy on this matchup, and hopefully just try to grind his opponent out.
All right, big question. 2 copies of Duress that are in Jonathan's sideboard. Like or hate? Plenty
Never,
of targets.
ever. Well, you never know. It depends on if you have the Planeswalkers. You have targets, but not good ones.
I think that taking Grizzly Salvage is pretty good.
It's fine, but it's aggressive. You
this...
only get those cards on turn 1, and you only have 2 copies of Duress. And after, think of the cards that you're going to draw after a Sphinx's Rev. Is a Duress going to be good on turn 7?
Might not be great, no?
Yeah, that's when you don't want it.
Okay.
Yeah, you want the development in the first couple turns. You don't really need anything to do to them. Like an Esper controller does not need to disrupt Junk in the first 3 turns. It has to disrupt him on the last 3 turns. And so... a card like Duress is not something I want to draw off a Sphinx's Rev, whereas a card like Evil Twin, Negate, Rest in Peace, these are all beautiful cards after that first. So I don't think Duress is going to come in, especially you'll feel so bad when you take an Umbrella Rights.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, man.
That doesn't help, though.
You got to do what you got to do in a tough matchup.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, I got your Umbrella Rights. You're like, dude, you've had Rest in Peace and play all day. Congratulations.
All right, so Brad says no on the Duresses. We'll see if Jonathan does agree as we are in game 2
What do you guys think at home? I am not the all-saying, all-knowing. I'm just a guy with very polarized opinions.
Yeah, and a mean beard and some spiky hair.
Grr. And beautiful spiky hair.
Wow, beautiful has been announced.
I'm touching it right now.
It's accurate and it's disturbing. As we do see both players prepared for game 2 here. Star City Games Open Series here in Orlando. Round 9 of 9. We are in game number 2. Cedric Phillips, Brad Nelson. We are going to determine our top 8 a little under an hour here. And find out what's going to win this tournament.
One of these players stays, and the other one goes to Universal Studios. I don't know who's the winner.
But they'll be going. to each of those places.
Yeah, one will be playing in the top 8, and one's probably going to go see Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. As we do see both players are going to keep their 7 cards. We're underway game 2 here. Hallowed Fountain to start off for Jonathan Marsh. And we're going to see an untapped Overgrown Tomb. Shawn Ellis going to move down to 18. And we are going to likely see a Mana Accelerant. Appetite for Brains.
All right.
I told you.
Cedric
I
1.
told you, Nelson.
Cedric 1, Brad 0. And he gets one of those evil
target
twins.
is an evil twin. So we see a Restoration Angel, an evil twin, a negate, and 3 lands over there. Evil twin. Obviously something I don't think that Shawn would have expected, as it's not the industry standard right now, but that is a good appetite for Brains target, my friend.
A card that we were all scared of as Reanimator players, though.
Now, why is this a card that you're so scared of as we bring Evil Twin up on the screen?
One of the things that happens in mirror matches sometimes is just the angel chains.
Okay.
Like each player playing angel serenities, and you both have 2 copies of it, so they keep going underneath each other. What Evil Twin does is it breaks it up because it costs 4.
Sure.
And being a cheaper angel serenity, this is a Evil Twin was one of the cards I was testing, and hoof, there it is right away for angel chains in the mirrors. But then I found out that Somber World Stage is awesome.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
We've come full circle, all the way back to the Somber World Stage. I knew we'd make our way back
here
eventually.
Yes, of course.
As we do see just a little bit of draw go here. Grizzly Salvage, worth
Take
negating,
it.
perhaps syncopating?
It's definitely worth the syncopate. I mean, you could negate it, but yeah, you would negate it over the syncopate since everything costs so much. But yeah, it's definitely worth countering.
All right, negate takes care of that. Jonathan agrees with Brad as we're going to keep going back and forth here. Vault of the Archangels into a Centaur healer there for Shawn Ellis, bringing him back up to 21, and a little bit of board presence and a slow, but at least it's somewhat of a clock here.
Yeah, I don't know if I know what I'm doing in Magic anymore when I've seen every single junk Reanimator player have Centaur healer after Cyber against the matchups that I've never had them in against.
All right, 3-3, gotta give those beatdowns.
They are. They hit hard. Ish.
So you see just a Godless Shrine, and Jonathan passes the turn back. It is take 2 to do it, but Shawn knows that Jonathan does have Restoration Angel, so he can't attack. So there's your Restoration Angel. Jonathan does just untap. He's going to draw. You see Tribute to Hunger in his hand, but Restoration Angel is not afraid. In for 3 we go.
And that's the position Jonathan's in. He's missing his line drops. He doesn't have a rep. He has to try to get some beatdowns down. And he's going to let the Centaur healer deal some damage. Maybe cast Tribute at the end of turn. If Shawn plays a spell, he's going to probably have to counter that.
And now we're going to see a Thragtusk. Thragtusk actually black out the screen. It's so powerful.
It is. Actually, I think that was Jonathan's mind. He's like, I need something to go well here.
Well, Syncopate takes care of Thragtusk, so mission accomplished. And now Jonathan does draw a land finally in the form of Watery Grave that's going to come into play tapped. Here comes Restoration Angel. It looks like we got a little bit of a race here, Bradley.
Did he have... Oh, I don't remember him having an extra counter spell.
Yeah, negate still there.
He already used a negate.
We must have drawn one during the blackout. That's the only answer.
But he drew a Watery Grave.
Or maybe we misidentified his hand. These things do happen. And you do see here a Tribute to Hunger, a Supreme Verdict, and the negate that we did not know he had. So Appetite for Brains takes care of that Supreme Verdict. And now Shawn is working with perfect information. You see the Tribute to Hunger, you see the negate, you see the Restoration Angel, and you see the lands.
Umbrella writes, getting back a Centaur healer, that's the saddest rights I've seen since I had to get it on a Death Right Shaman.
You had to do that when?
Round 4 of Charleston, the first match I played with the deck of Hoof, there it is. I had to do that. Well, Josh related on camera as well. We're both camera matches.
Now, I remember Josh obviously casting a turn 3 Angels.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were watching? Yeah.
You.
He goes turn 4 Crater Hoof game 1, turn 3 Angel Surrender game 2, and I'm like slowly getting a draw, which was the best thing that ever happened to me in that tournament because I just played easy matchups for the rest of the day.
Draw bracket's a good place to be with Hoof.
Didn't lose a game after that for the rest of the day.
As we see Dissipate the draw step here. Rest in Peace also comes into play here. And now we're going to see Restoration Angel trade with the Centaur Healer plus a Vault of the Archangel activation. So Shawn will get a little bit of life. The boards are going to be even, for lack of a better term, but Rest in Peace is making things difficult, and you see in Jonathan's hand a lot of counter magic.
Yeah, not a bad place to be. It sucks that Think Twice is only 1 card, but if Shawn can't get anything going right now, Here's a half of a Lingering Souls. And the Negate gets rid of it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it.
Negate looks to be trading 1-for-1 with Lingering Souls here. Kind of an embarrassing trade, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Both of those are removed from the game, and now we can cycle that Think Twice. That'll get removed as well, so it'll only turn into 1 card instead of 2. A little bit of a non-bow with Rest in Peace, but desperate times do call for desperate measures. And now
that is not a desperate magic card.
Jace Memory Adept. We are going to see a mill for 10. So you guys will see a bunch of cards come to the graveyard. You do see the Primordial. You do see Armada Worm. Just a bunch of cards go
Was that only 5
in the
cards?
graveyard. He's revealing 2 at a time.
Oh, okay.
So there are your 10. A couple copies of Thragtusk as well.
Now, do you like that or just drawing a card? You're not under any pressure? I feel like getting a little bit ahead might be great. Like, you have a removal spell and a counter spell. I guess because you have that Dissipate, he has to do something this turn.
As we are going to see a Grizzly Salvage here from Shawn. I don't hate that. You know, it's definitely arguable, both sides of it, as it looks like he's going to take a Restoration Angel off the Grizzly Salvage. But I don't know. I kind of just want to get my opponent dead as fast as I can. I'm a little bit greedy, a little bit more aggressive. I just kind of want to get it over with. Now, I'm not saying that makes it correct or anything, but that would just be my thought. Is you're going to see Drowned Catacomb come in another mill for 10, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. As those 10 cards are getting removed.
Yeah, and this game is locked up now because we've got a Devour Flesh for the Angel in hand, and we have a Dissipate for whatever he hits off the top.
And you see Shawn doesn't even cast the Restoration Angel into turn here. You see he's going to play his Sun Petal Grove. We know about that Restoration Angel. I think he's got an Unburial Rite stuck in his hand as well, which doesn't do anything. And now Nefaya Drownyard is going to add to that clock. So Jace Memory Deck looks like it's going to take it down as you see Undying Evil, that last card. And Jonathan's going to take a look at that really quick as well. And there you see the spooky target creature gains Undying until end of turn.
Very powerful with all the come into play abilities.
And here is Restoration Angel. Devour Flesh is going to take care of that, as you predicted, Brad. And still having access to that counter magic. Little loose point using that blue mana to do that, as we're going to see Centaur Healer. We're going to see a mill of 3 by the Nefaya Drownyard.
Now, why would he keep showing his deck if he knows he's just decked?
Well, that's a good question. Something that we can talk about during sideboard here,
yeah.
As Jonathan Marsh does win game number 2. So we're moving on to game 3 here, and that is the question I was actually going to ask you: is at some point when you are beat like you are with Rest in Peace and Jace Memory Deck going to work there, you have to consider concession, not give away information.
So are you asking me how early I would concede a game of Magic?
I am indirectly asking you that question. Yes.
Well, that's just funny because I concede very early. Like, I will concede when there's an actual percent left that I can win sometimes.
Okay.
And it's bad, but I concede very early in situations like that, especially for information. If my opponent has both those and I break that one time, I'm done. Like, the odds of me winning that game mean he has to have 0 good cards in hand, like any playables, as well as I have to like draw 2 cards that are awesome in a row. So I just concede, don't want to show any information, and get to sideboarding. Knowing that there's an Undying Evil in my deck, maybe lets my opponent play around that now. And not a card you would ever play with. And you would blow your opponent out with it.
Is it better that your opponent can play around it and, maybe overthink of, okay, like there's an Undying Evil and, there's a lot racing their mind out, they know that card's there. It's a card they're not familiar with playing against, so it may give them a little too much extra information and they have to be scared of it? Or is it, or is it worse off where they're just like, oh, there's an Undying Evil, I guess, okay, that's a nice thing to know. So they can overthink it or they can underthink it a little bit.
They can overthink it, sure, but I still feel like having information my opponent has no idea about with a singleton in my deck is much better than them playing around. It's not a force spike, right?
Sure.
Like, you're going to have to Wrath sometimes, but, like, if your opponent doesn't know and he just, like, greedily just, like, plays a Diabolic Edict or a Tribute to Hunger.
Sure.
And I'm just like, oh, look what I can do.
Sure.
That's very impressive to me.
Well, I mean, concessions, especially, when we have time rounds here in the Swiss, of course, our top 8 rounds are untimed, but in the Swiss, where you do have to use time as a factor and, giving away information here, as Jonathan has a much better idea how Shawn did sideboard there. We saw the Appetite for Brains, we saw the Undying
He got
Evils.
to see the Gristlebrand.
Yep, we got to see the Primordials as well, so he's got an idea of what his opponent has now. He is working with some more information they did not have previously.
Do you like bringing the Primordials in after your opponent has shown you Rest in Peace? Like,
absolutely not.
Yeah. Like,
I do not like 7 mana 5/4s.
No. Against Esper, against Rest in Peace.
You're asking me, do I like 7 mana 5/4s and constructed? And my answer is no. Even if they do have Intimidate.
I'm with you.
All right.
We share a common interest.
And plus, the other thing is, boarding the Primordial there is a little bit sketchy as well, just because you have to assume that an Esper player is going to have Rest in Peace.
Dude, all I'm going to say is the guy that's crazy enough not to cast a Gristlebrand will do anything in sideboarding.
Hey,
he's a loose cannon, man.
That's true. You're just, man, you're bitter.
I am.
The bitterness with the no Gristlebrand.
No, it was first the no Prime Speaker.
Okay.
And then missing the hoof.
Yep.
And now the Gristle. Like, show me sweet things, people.
No one said that this job is easy, Brad. All right? You're not going to always get what you want.
I usually
But if you try sometimes, you might get what you need. So you do see Godless Shrine and a Temple Garden here for Shawn. Both players have kept their 7. Jonathan has a Water Grave. He's going to follow it up with a, looks like Glacial Fortress. Now, $1 million question, Brad. He has turned to Rest in Peace, so he does not cast it. Should he hold it?
Hold it.
Hold it. Got to get your value?
Yeah, especially if your opponent has a cheap answer for it. You definitely want your value. Especially on this turn, like, I don't think you're going to want to counter anything that comes into play on turn 4, and you're going to want to get this value right now.
You do see Mulch reveal no lands. Of those cards that are important, Lingering Soul is probably the most important of those cards. So he can Rest in Peace now to take care of these, as he's going to take a look at the graveyard. You see the Undying Evil, the Centaur Healer, the Lingering Souls, and the Angel of Serenity. And now's a pretty decent time to pull the trigger on that Rest in Peace.
Yes, especially with a Dissipate hand to fight an Acidic Slime if it comes down. Like, this is going to be a very tough game for Shawn to win.
You do see Evil Twin as the draw step. The question is, does Jonathan have a 4th land? He does not. It's a good thing for him that he does have the Dissipate. And speaking of Acidic Slime, there it is. But Dissipate is going to take care of that. So Jonathan's going to untap. He's going to draw. He needs to land big time here, and he does find one in the form of Drowned Catacomb. So back in this game now.
Oh, extremely back in this game. If Shawn goes Tusk, Jonathan gets to go Tusk. And then use that to protect his Jace if he draws a land.
And you see a Sunpetal Grove here for Shawn. A lot of cards in his hand. It is going to begin with a Thragtusk. That looks like it's going to resolve, and it is. We do know that Jonathan does have the Evil Twin in his hand. He also has a Sphinx Revelation.
He has 2 Evil Twins in his hand. Does he really Sphinx for 1 here?
He's going to Sphinx for 1. He wants to increase the velocity of his deck, be able to hit those land drops. Jonathan takes 2 draw steps there. You see Isolated Chapel, the draw for the turn, and now here is Evil Twin copying Thragtusk. Going to push Jonathan up to 26. The
most evil of all the backstabbers.
What jerk.
Yeah, it's just Thragtusk going to attack, then he gets to take it down.
So here comes Thragtusk. Jonathan happy to take that, move down to 21, wants to preserve his Evil Twin, and now we're going to see a Centaur Healer, and Shawn does just pass the turn back.
Now, Jonathan is taking over this game. There's a Rest in Peace already there. Even though Jonathan's not doing anything with Sphinx's Revs like you normally see with Esper, we do have virtual card advantage in a Thragtusk in play that can also kill all other Thragtusks.
Yep.
And just a fistful of very good magic cards. We have a Jace, a Counterspell, a Springbirding, and another Evil Twin.
And he even has a backup Rest in Peace in his hand as well. So his hand is pretty loaded as long as he's able to just keep hitting land drops. And he has been able to do that the past couple of turns here. Negate will shore up any non-creature spells. So he's actually sitting pretty well here. I guess the question, Brad, now is, does he cast this other Evil Twin, maybe on a Thragtusk, maybe on a Centaur Healer?
Well, I think the decision he's trying to make is if he should Jace right now. I think you save that Evil Twin for Angel.
Kind of break up those chains?
Yeah. Okay. But, I guess not. I'm just wrong again.
It looks like he is going to disagree. We're going to see Evil Twin copy another Thragtusk. Evil Twin, a card we'll bring up on the screen for you guys again so you can see it, as this is a card that has not seen a ton of constructed play, but it's looking pretty strong right now, as it is gaining Jonathan 5 life, threatening to put a Beast token into play, and can shoot down those other Thragtusks.
Alright, so here we go. It's going to take down this Thragtusk.
Looks like it's happy to trade with a Centaur Healer as well, so talk about value.
Oh, yeah. What's going to end up happening is these boards can clear into Jonathan either having a Thragtusk or 2 Beast tokens.
Sure.
Depending on what Shawn wants to do.
You see Beast tokens coming up on each side. Centaur Healer bites the dust. That Evil Twin that's in play is a copy of a Thragtusk. So if another one does join the party, that's going to die. And you see Shawn just pass the turn back, so Jonathan's going to draw a card. He finds a Restoration Angel.
I mean, now we cannot copy a Thragtusk again. But it is just a very powerful spell. If you want to get that Thragtusk in the air,
certainly don't mind copying a Restoration Angel as well and just going to the skies that way. We are going to see Thragtusk. Looks like it's going to come across here. Feeling frisky. Ah, is it?
I would want to wait. I don't want to lose this Thragtusk, and I don't want to waste this Restoration Angel. I would have sat back on Jace.
So here we see a trade, and now we're going to see a Jace here, and now we're going to see Milton again. So he's going straight for the library, and this is how we saw Jonathan win the last game. And it's looking like he's trying to win this one the same way. Milling 10, and he's got the defenses up with the beast tokens. And not only that, Brad, but he has Supreme Verdict in his hand in case anything goes horribly wrong. As we do see a Thragtusk here from Shawn.
When can we just start going womp, womp, womp?
Well, you just did.
Thank you.
So now would be the time.
Yeah, just look how strong Junk looked game one, and just not having a great Esper sideboard plan, still having cards like Center Healer bringing an Appetite for Hunger, or Appetite for Brains, is just showing that it's just like getting beat. But it is pretty impressive that Jonathan did draw his one Jace both games. That's something that normally wouldn't happen.
Hey, you put it in your deck so that you can draw it. As we're going to see the Beast Token trade with the Thragtusk. Jonathan will hand that Beast Token over to Shawn for his Thragtusk dying. And it looks like we're going to see a Grizzly salvage here post-combat by Shawn, desperately searching for help. Cavern of Souls, Temple Garden, Grizzly Salvage, Plains, and Angel Serenity are the cards revealed. Angel Serenity will go to Shawn's hand, but it's not a card that he can cast right now. And it might come here too late as he's going to play an Isolated Chapel just past the turn. We're going to see a Sphinx of Revelation for 3 here by Jonathan, and that might be the backbreaker that does end this game and might possibly put Jonathan Marsh into the top 8 of this tournament.
As for Control, still living, still doing really well. One of the only decks that, if built correctly, can prey on all these Junk Reanimators.
As we do see another mill for 10 here, so it looks like Shawn's library is underneath 10 cards. He's going to count them out. Looks like we see about 6 there. Does not have enough value of Drown Yard in his hand, does Jonathan, but we're going to see a Drown Catacombs come into play, a stock full grip, and he's happy to pass the turn back. Very content, and a hand is extended. Yeah. Jonathan Marsh, 2-1 over Shawn Ellis. Esper Control takes out the Boogeyman and Junk Reanimator.
And yeah, we're going to see yet again another Esper Control piloted by a very good player. Jonathan played very tight there.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of his lines. And one of the reasons I liked is because I disagreed with most of them. And that means he's probably correct.
So Jonathan Marsh was our 10 seed coming into this round. Shawn Ellis was our 9 seed. We're not sure if Jonathan Marsh will make it, as he did, as he does have lower tie breaks than our 21 pointers. But we will see how the cookie crumbles over the course of this. You know, our top 4 players were able to draw in John Cuvier, Sam Williams, Anthony Pittman, and Victor Tejada. And then we had a lot of players playing for it, our 5 through 12 in the standings. So Jonathan Marsh again was our 10 seed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to get in. It's 1, 2.